As teenagers, Spanish twins Emilio and Ivan Martinez moved thousands of miles to LA, where they became hugely famous for making content. But living far from home in a house of other teenagers filled them with anxiety that they are still struggling with.
We were 17, we were really young. We were young, and that's where we started being anxious, because we were young and we didn't know how to handle it.
The School of Life is sending some of YouTube's most popular creators on a series of field trips to explore some of philosophy's most intriguing ideas. This time, the Martinez twins. Best known for their online music videos, blogs and pranks, are looking at anxiety, an issue the twins have had to deal with themselves.
I think for us, anxiety is the biggest problem we have right now. Yeah.
Anxiety has replaced depression as the #1 mental health issue. For many people, it's characterized as overwhelming feelings of loneliness, inadequacy, and failure. Magnified by social media with its never-ending images of unattainable perfection. In this video, we're going to discover how the Martinez twins experienced a situation that sent their anxiety levels through the roof. They'll discover more about what makes them anxious and why, and then we'll learn some practical steps we can all take to help us avoid anxiety. But first, a 60-second guide to anxiety. We live in a time of high anxiety, with social media providing constant updates on just how much fun and success everyone else is having. Why is everyone else enjoying a better career, more friends, nicer stuff, and better sex than we are? It's the age of ultimate FOMO. But there's nothing new about our constant state of anxiety. Being anxious is just who we are. Countless generations of evolution have favored the survival of the natural-born warrior. The ones who didn't worry got eaten by wild animals. But there is an antidote. Of sorts. Previous cultures could draw upon deep wells of spirituality to assure them that everything was fine. They didn't worry about every little detail because they believed that ultimately they were part of a bigger plan, a tiny cog in a giant machine. Can we rediscover that freedom from anxiety by letting go of our egos, finding relief and even taking delight in the knowledge that it's not all about us? Accepting that we and everyone else on the planet are just fallible, imperfect warriors won't stop us from being anxious, but could it stop us being anxious about being anxious?
We were born in Spain, and we started making videos on the internet, having fun, and we didn't know this was about to be our life.
Having built a following at home in Spain, the Martinez twins moved to America to join a group of other young influencers who lived together in a house in Los Angeles. Within just 3 months, their fan base soared from 400,000 subscribers to over 3 million. But the environment they found themselves in became hugely stressful for the 17-year-olds. Away from home for the first time, barely speaking English, and without any family support, the twins experienced overwhelming feelings of anxiety and moved back to Spain, where they stopped creating content altogether.
I want to say thank you to all our fans. We love you guys so much. Bye guys, peace, peace.
So where does the feeling of anxiety actually come from? Dean Burnett is a doctor of neuroscience who explains the physical origin of anxiety in the evolution of the brain.
A lot of this anxiety is down to how our brains have evolved and developed, but they've done this over millions of years. Of course, the modern world is only a few hundred years old, and our brains simply haven't had the time to develop ways to recognize and cope with modern threats, dangers, and issues which cause anxiety. So if you see the brain here, this part at the top there, that's the neocortex. That's the most complex part of the brain. That's the human part of the brain, where all our imagination and planning and thinking and language comes from. That's relatively new. That evolved less than 2 million years ago. Whereas this part here, the limbic system in the middle, that's where this threat response comes from. That's like 50 million years old or older. That's from a time when we were primitive creatures, we were constantly encountering predators and dangers and risks. Whereas now we have taken control of the world, and as a result of this, the fundamental parts of our brain which control the fear and anxiety response, they don't really have the ability to tell the difference between being chased by a lion and the possibility of putting a video online that people don't like and having a negative reaction. So the brain responds to these things in the same way when it shouldn't. People your age are actually far more prone to anxiety because the parts of your brain which tell those fundamental bits, keep quiet, calm down, those are still developing.
We thought that we were the only ones that had these situations. It's a common thing, like a lot of people has it. You're not alone.
Understanding that our brains are hardwired to make us feel anxious is the first step to learning that anxiety is natural, not abnormal. We need to learn to accept it, but we also need to learn to cope with it. Dr. Elena Torroni is a consultant psychologist who specializes in treating anxiety disorders. Unusually for such inseparable identical twins, Emilio and Ivan are taking turns to confide in Elena.
When we were in the US, we were working every day. There was a lot of pressure.
I don't want to fail. And if I fail, I don't want my brother to fail. And my mind thinks, if you don't want to fail, just don't do it.
One thing that I noticed is that both you and your brother mentioned sort of very powerfully this idea of wanting to get out of the situation, kind of run away from the situation, which is very typical of anxiety. Whenever we're feeling threatened, we want to escape. If you were able to challenge that negative thought and giving yourself a positive message, look, it will be okay. We have done this a few times. People really enjoy watching us. And even if something was to go wrong momentarily, you and your brother would be able to find a way to recover. It's really important not to become too worried about being worried. It's very straightforward to kind of get help with feelings of anxiety. Very kind of simple techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness can make a very big difference to relieving feelings of anxiety.
Mindfulness is the process of focusing the mind on experiences in the present moment and one of the most effective ways of combating anxiety. Veronica Rakely teaches relaxation through aerial yoga. Can she help the twins relieve their anxieties by learning to experience the joy of the present?
What brought you here today?
To feel safe.
Okay.
When I feel like anxious.
So this is what area yoga can help with, to soothe the body. Sitting in hammocks helps you to feel more secure, more safe, because you can create your own bubble around your body. It is only you, your mind, your body. You are present in the moment and you are present in the body. And how do you feel now?
I feel relaxed. I almost fall asleep. Yeah. This really works because you gotta be like focusing on what you're doing and your mind is like really clear and I feel great.
We can all learn to cope with anxiety and live calmer lives by doing 5 simple things. We do too much and then complain that our lives are too hectic, but what registers as anxiety is often the mind's plea not to be continuously overstimulated. We all need to accept that we can't do it all. We need proper sleep, at least 7 hours every night. News organizations speak of our need to know, but often we have a greater need not to know. There's nothing we can do about the exploits, disasters, and triumphs of strangers we'll never meet. We need to switch off and concentrate on things closer to home that we can affect. Anxiety is the mind's revenge for all the thoughts we try to suppress. We need to allocate time where we have nothing to do other than sift through the chaotic contents of our minds. Every hour of living requires at least 10 minutes of sifting. It would be nice to be rich, famous, and successful, but it might be wiser to recognize that a truly satisfying life can be had living modestly and far away from the manic competition to win the professional status race.
Being anxious made us escape from social media, and that is a thing that we love to do.
If this happens to you, I want to say to you guys that you guys are not alone.
Yeah.
This can be controlled, and you can handle it, and you can change it. There's a new future on us. We're gonna go out, we're gonna have fun, and we're not gonna worry about worrying, which is really important. Hey guys, if you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to the School of Life channel to watch all the cool episodes. Right now. Go right now. You gotta go right now. Right now. Woo! Right now.